no one could have foreseen it that after years of perfect silence, Caitriona Balfe would finally choose this moment to break it. The moment to reveal the truth about Sam Heughan. A truth so delicate, so dangerous, that if it had been spoken earlier, it might have rewritten both of their lives entirely. The Outlander fandom, long trapped in its own labyrinth of theories, rumors, and feverish speculation, was still echoing with arguments when Caitriona appeared, calm, steady, almost ethereal, and began to speak. There were no tears, no trembling voice, no dramatic gestures, only that quiet composure that made the audience's skin crawl, for sometimes the most painful confessions come cloaked in calmness. It all began, she said, with her bond to Sam Heughan, the man millions believed was her destined love, the man with whom she created one of television's most intoxicating romances. But behind the rolling Scottish mists, behind every gaze and touch that made fans believe in eternal love, there existed another story. One far heavier than romance, one woven with pressure, sacrifice, suffocating silence, and a promise only the two of them knew. I once said I kept quiet to protect someone, Caitriona confessed. But I never said who. Until now. What she was about to share wasn't a love story, it was something far more painful. Because sometimes, the deepest ache isn't the inability to love someone, but knowing that to love them would destroy you both. The hall fell into utter stillness. Even the air seemed to hesitate, because everyone sensed that this was no ordinary revelation. This was the truth. After enduring months of public scrutiny, the tabloid frenzy, the invasive questions, the whispers that blurred friendship with fantasy, Caitriona Balfe finally decided to open her heart about her connection to Sam Heughan, her co-star, her confidant, and once the person half the world believed was her other half. She had guarded that truth for years, not out of deceit, but out of understanding. I knew that one careless word, one sentence taken out of context, she said softly, would become wildfire. And that fire could burn not only our friendship, but our entire careers. But time changes everything. And as years passed and shadows thinned, she found the strength to speak slowly, calmly, yet with a sadness that pierced through every syllable. Those early days of Outlander, she recalled, were like stepping into an unknown storm. She was new to television. So was Sam. They met for the first time at the script reading. A moment, she said, that felt like meeting someone you'd known forever in another life. It was his eyes, that quiet steadiness, the warmth in his tone. The way he gently pushed a chair toward her instead of pulling one out for himself, a small act that told her this man carried kindness, like second nature. From that instant, she sensed that Sam Heughan was someone rare. But what she didn't know was that this bond would one day become both a gift and a curse. From the very first scene, Jamie and Claire locked in a chemistry that set the screen ablaze. The world decided for them. They weren't just co-stars. They were soulmates, fated lovers. Every glance, every smile, every touch was dissected, magnified, twisted into meaning. And suddenly the space between them, once natural, simple and human, became a cage made of public obsession. I was terrified, Caitriona admitted. If I laughed too freely on camera, people would say I was in love. If I didn't, they'd say we'd had a fight. I never knew friendship could become something so fragile under the spotlight. Then came her greatest confession, one she had never voiced before. I stayed silent. she said, her voice trembling, just slightly to protect Sam. Because he was the one hurt the most. He was the one constantly questioned about them. The one who carried the label of secret lover. The one who had to smile through endless interviews pretending not to hear what everyone whispered. And when Sam began seeing other women, the backlash was brutal. Whoever dated him was attacked, insulted, accused of being a cover-up. People told him, she recalled bitterly, "You're betraying the one you truly belong to." Caitriona's eyes glistened, not from tears but from memory. He took it all in silence. People thought that meant he was fine. But I was there. I saw it. And it broke me. She described nights on set, both of them utterly drained, after weeks of shooting, lost between their real selves and the characters they lived as. Sometimes they'd just sit together in silence in the dressing room saying nothing. They didn't need to. "It was a friendship I know I'll never have again," she said quietly. Then came the day that changed everything, her wedding. The news hit like a bomb. Fans wept, others raged. Her husband was insulted, accused, dismissed as a decoy in a story people wanted to believe. She had to shut down her private accounts, retreat from the noise. "I cried," she admitted. And Sam, he stayed silent. That silence made everything worse. The day I got married, Caitriona said softly, Sam stood beside me. Not as a man who'd lost someone, but as my friend, the one who'd always known me better than anyone. He smiled and hugged me. There was no jealousy, no pain, just peace. And for the first time, I felt I'd done the right thing. Even if the world didn't see it that way. Throughout the interview, she returned again and again to gratitude. Gratitude for the man who never turned their friendship into fuel for gossip. Gratitude for the one who shielded her from storms, even if it meant standing in the shadows. Gratitude for the pact they made long ago, a silent vow that their friendship mattered more than any imagined romance. That vow had been their anchor, their quiet truth. And then came her final words, simple, raw, and unforgettable. If we had loved each other, Outlander would have ended a long time ago. But because we chose a different kind of love, one built on respect, trust, and friendship, everything still stands today. I don't need Sam to be my lover. I need him to be my friend, someone I can trust until the end. There was no dramatic flourish, no tears. Only a release, one that had taken nearly a decade to find. And perhaps that's why their story endures. Not because they belong to each other, but because they chose not to. Maybe that after all was the most beautiful thing Sam Heughan and Caitriona Balfe ever gave each other. A love that never needed to be possessed, only understood.